Hello, I have been tagged by Josh from the channel Literary Gladiators to do Josh's Butter Book tag. This tag has 11 butter type products, and the goal is to choose a book that matches each. Number 1 is Land O'Lakes, a brand that I've never heard of. I'm supposed to choose my favorite book about the American West. For this one, I'm going to choose any book by Louis L'Amour. The plots of those books are pretty much the same, and I must have read more than 50 paperbacks in my high school years, so Louis L'Amour. Number 2 is Hotel Bar, another brand I've never heard of. And I'm supposed to choose a notable book I read on vacation. For this one, I chose Samuel Marchbank's Almanac by Robertson Davies. I read this 2 Christmases ago when I was vacationing with my grandparents in New York State. This is a New Canadian Library edition, and it's literally written like an almanac. There's the signs and dates, and then basically the story is told through these almanac entries and through a series of letters. Number 3 is Imperial. I have heard of this brand, and I'm supposed to choose my favorite book about royalty. Now, thinking about this one, I considered something like a Russian classic or a French classic, but I decided to go for nonfiction. I chose Fragile Empire, How Russia Fell In and Out of Love with Vladimir Putin by Ben Judah. Vladimir Putin is kind of like royalty, and this was a very good book, and I wanted to fit some nonfiction into this tag. Number 4 is Country Crock. Once again, a brand that I do not know. It's a book you would take on a camping trip. For this one, I chose Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, mainly because I read this book on the beach, so I would take it camping. Number 5 is Margarine, your favorite sequel or spinoff. First of all, margarine is absolutely disgusting and I would never eat it. Second of all, I chose The High Road by Terry Fallis. This is the sequel to The Best Laid Plans. It's a political satire, political comedy, I guess, about a professor, an older professor who ends up as an MP in Ottawa. And number 6 is Bread, your favorite literary partnership, writers or characters. Now, I tried to think of writers, but most of the books that I read are by single authors. So I decided to go with characters, and I chose Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, mainly because I watched the 1940s movie adaptation the day I had my wisdom teeth out, and I was once again reminded of Jo and the professor and that perfect romance. Number 7 is Popcorn, a book that played out like a movie. Popcorn would be good right now, but I'm not allowed to eat popcorn for 2 more weeks since I had my wisdom teeth out the other day. So Popcorn, a book that played out like a movie. For this one, I chose Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. When I read it, it seemed like it was playing out like a movie, but that could be partly because I've seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, the movie adaptation with Audrey Hepburn, many, many times, so I couldn't help but imagine the movie as I read this book. Number 8 is Churn, a book that was a struggle to get through. So I've chosen 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. This is a brick of a book. It started off good, and then it started to drag on, and eventually get to a couple hundred pages of murder, and this is where I stopped. I never finished it. Number 9 is Julia Child, a great French classic. And for this one, I have chosen A Distinguished Provincial at Paris by Henri de Balzac. I adore Balzac. It's interesting, I read an article about his coffee habit a while back. But yes, I love this edition. It's beautiful. Someone did a very poor job of rebinding it, though. There's this cheap kind of gray vinyl over top of the old binding, and then they cut holes to allow the title to show through. I paid $7 for this I paid $7 for this at a secondhand shop 2 summers ago. Number 10 is Butterscotch, a sweet poem or short story. For this one, I've chosen Alice Munro. I'm showing you the Everyman's Library Carried Away. Just to represent Alice Munro, the short story I want to talk about is Half a Grapefruit, which I don't believe is in this collection, but Half a Grapefruit is a really sweet story about a girl from the country, a rather poor girl, and she goes to school and she wants to fit in with the city kids. So when the teacher asks what she had for breakfast, she says she had half a grapefruit, which is something that none of the country kids eat, and her own mother would think it would be frivolous to eat a grapefruit for breakfast. Number 11 is Spread, Who Do You Tag? So I've decided to tag Adele from the next chapter, Malia Marie, and Christopher Alonso. Josh, once again, thank you so much for tagging me. I enjoyed the butter tag almost as much as I enjoyed the cheese book tag and the cookie tag. I look forward to more food-related book tags in the future because I'm sure you'll have some. Thanks for watching.